What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today is November 21st. And did you know that back in 1891, on November 21st, Henry Miller and 9 other brothers got together and founded in St. Louis the National Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, which later would become the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And in that spirit and in that vein of organizing, I would like to kind of just speak on that spirit, man, because Henry Miller traveled the country like a hobo, jumping trains, rolling from town to town to talk to other linemen about organizing into a national union. Can you imagine the amount of fortitude and persistence that had to have taken to be able to do that? And with the mission being to organize all electricians, all wiremen, into one grand union. It's a beautiful sentiment, and it's something that we got to thank his inspiration and his willingness to keep on persevering against all odds to get it done, because today we benefit from that work done over 100 years ago. That work done back then set the foundation for what we take part in today. And unfortunately, so many of us have forgotten what it took to even think to build a electricians union. And let's go further than that, because it's not just the electrical union. I'm talking about unions in general and the labor movement overall. We talk about the IBEW because that's the one that we are a part of, and that's the one that a lot of you guys who come across my videos are trying to get into. But the labor movement is far bigger and grander than just the IBEW. And unfortunately for me and for folks like myself who are more of the let's get back to old tactics mentality and not this corporatist let's treat unions like a business mentality, those folks are misguided. You sit there and try to treat a union like if it's a business, you got to get your head screwed on right, because you're not thinking properly. We were never meant to be a business. We are a brotherhood meant to stand together for our benefit, for our working conditions to be better, for our pay rates to be better, for our retirements to be better, for our benefits to be better. That's the whole point of what Henry Miller was starting. Henry Miller could have been a business-minded individual and done something selfishly in the me world that we live in. He could have done that. He chose not to. He chose to instead unify with his class and say, we can do better. And because of that mentality and that work, we have what we have today. And unfortunately, there's so many folks to get into a position of elected representation where they're sitting in a position to have their hands on the levers of power, and they forget those lessons. They forget what it's all about, and instead they have this me attitude where it's like, what's best for me? What's best for this business that we're building? This isn't a business. This is a union that we are a part of. And it's beautiful today on November 21st to remember our founders and the mission that they put forward. Don't get me wrong, the Constitution of the IBEW has some beautiful objectives. The Declaration is beautiful. It has structure in it that is gorgeous because it really does set the framework. But if we don't live the ideals and we don't live the objectives and we don't aim for those objectives, then what are we really about? You have folks on a job site that are so selfish, they're willing to undermine their siblings in order to get ahead, to get a little bit more in their pocket. Specialists that'll sit there and be like, I don't want to train the next man. Just pay me more, I'll do the work, and forget training the next person. Whether that's terminations, whether that's pipe bending, whatever the skill may be. That is not how this thing is supposed to work. That's why it's each one teach one. The whole way that it was built and the way it was meant to work is that the senior workers, the ones that have all of the knowledge and all of the experience and all of the wealth of information, are supposed to pass that information along to the next generation that's coming up behind them, imparting upon them the lessons that were imparted on them when they were coming up. But instead, you got job-scared bastards out there that'll sit there and knife their sibling in the back in order to keep their position. It's terrible trend that we have got to reverse. And the key to reversing this trend, my siblings, is talking to each other and speaking truth to power. Because power, once removed from the everyday work life, they forget what work life is like. They are amazed to learn that we have a drug addiction problem, that we have stressors that are really putting the vice grip on us, that our mental health is turning to mush. Amazed to find that out. Well, how hard is it to learn when you sit in your ivory tower and you don't talk to the rank and file on the job? You know, elected representatives really should take off the suit and tie, put on some work boots and some jeans and a hard hat, and go out into the field and actually put in the work for a week, 2 weeks, and really get a feeling for what it's like out there in the field, instead of sitting in this ivory tower and making judgments from on high when you can't even see the workers that you're supposed to represent. Henry Miller understood it well because Henry Miller was a worker. He was out there working. That's why he was able to organize, because he knew the conditions that everybody was facing. That's why he was able to build and lay the foundation with 9 other brothers that had a similar goal, to lay the foundation for the NEBW, which would then become the IBEW. If it wasn't for their class solidarity and their understanding of the work and the troubles that the group faced, they wouldn't have been able to come up with a structure that would have lasted and endured for as long as it has. Unfortunately, many of us has forgotten what it's all about. My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Don't ever stop speaking truth to power. Don't ever stop being your brother's keeper. Especially on today, let's remember that. Today's Founders Day for the IBEW. Behave like one of the founders. Look after your siblings. Speak truth to power. Challenge it. Don't let management run y'all and split the workforce. Elevate a few while oppressing the rest. Giving us poor conditions as if we're animals. Undeserving of dignity at work. We are very much deserving of dignity at work. We are the sole reason that any of these companies make profit. The only reason that they make a profit is because we're willing to go to work every day and spin those wrenches and get those installs done. Don't ever let them forget it. Management ain't the ones making money for these companies. It's the labor. It's you. You're the one making the profits for these folks. It's not the foreman and the boss. They're reading the prints and laying out work, but it's you guys putting the work in. Don't ever forget that, and don't ever let anybody take that from you. My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Remember, the fight's not left and right. It's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one, teach one. Get out there and reach one. And damn it, teach one. Don't hoard the skills for yourself. Remember, there can be no union without you and I front and center. Peace.